Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So one of my goals for providing great information to you guys is also including really great experts in different areas of buying a new home. Things that you can be doing to prepare or to change, and who better else to have as my first guest than my man, Rafael.
Round of applause.
Round of applause, right. He's gonna go over some great topics when it comes to maintaining your bank account, preparing your bank account, credit, establishing credit, those kind of things, all the stuff that you want to prepare and have ready for when you're ready to get that mortgage loan. And it really goes, it applies the same for lending across the board, but in particular the mortgage loan, we've seen some things come up with the mortgage loan process. And these are things that you can prepare for ahead of time, so that way you're not having to run into those issues when the time comes. So Rafael, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've been in banking for 12 years. And out of those 12 years, I've been in management and also got my finance degree from the University of Houston downtown a few years ago.
Nice. Good. So you know a lot about the financial industry.
I do. I've been through a lot, yeah.
Good. Well, this is exactly the type of person and expert advice that we are needing, so that way you guys can help prepare your accounts and your credit for when you're ready to buy a house. The first thing that we want to get into is the bank account. It seems simple, common sense, but we see it often, or when I used to be in banking, I saw it a lot. And I'm sure you see a lot too, is that people do run into issues whenever they're getting their bank account statements, and then underwriting is asking a ton of questions regarding what they see on their bank statements and the bank history that they're maintaining. So what are some issues that you've seen come up in that process, and what's your advice for when those things happen?
So some advice, I would say I know everyone has different financial situations, but try to keep a little bit of a higher average balance in your account. That also does help a lot. A lot of banks look at your 12-month average balance to make decisions on lending, right? They want to know who they're lending money to. The next thing I would say is try to avoid any negative relationships with the account, being overdrafting, right? Nobody likes overdrafting, and the banks doesn't want you to overdraft either. I would recommend people out there that set up account alerts. The banks give you these services where you can set up text message alerts. If your balance gets under a certain amount, you get a message, and they're protecting you from that pesky 35 or 40 or whatever fee it is to avoid that. So next thing is your income. How do you get your income? Direct deposit, normally banks love that. Hence, that's why you get a free bank account when you have direct deposit, right? If you don't, that's fine. Just deposit your checks via mobile ATM or bank teller, wherever you want to do. But I would shy away from cashing it and then taking most of the cash out, because when you have cash, cash is king, but not so much for the banks, right? They want to see transactional history there. So they want to ensure that where's the funds being used, how responsible this customer really is. So that's one. And if you have multiple accounts, try to avoid from transferring one account to the other.
Right.
I would say have your checking account for your everyday purchases and your direct deposit or your source of income to go there, and get you a savings account for saving for a house, right? For a car or party or whatever you want to do, rainy day fund, put your money there and don't touch it, right? So that's some tips that I can give around helping maybe structure your bank account a little bit better.
Right. And one of the things, main things that I see when it comes to mortgage lending that the lenders will come back and ask me is, well, where did these funds come from, right? It's a recent large deposit, and so they don't know where they came from. It could be gifts from a family for them to use for down payment. Maybe it was a transfer from their savings account, or maybe a different bank account that they have, and this is their primary account, right? So I know some people have savings in a different bank, and then they're transferring that money over. So just being able to provide that proof of where the funds came from. Best rule of thumb, if you know you're gonna have to transfer money because you're gonna purchase a home, so you're preparing that ahead of time, make that transfer more than 60 days out, so that way it's already sitting in your bank account and there really is no question on, well, where did this money come from, right? Yeah, so those are pretty much the key things. What is that one quote that you were saying about who you wouldn't lend money to what?
I wouldn't lend money to someone that you don't know, right? So for example, would you lend money to someone, would you give somebody $100 you met off the street? No. I won't do it, she ain't gonna do it, you ain't gonna do it.
No one's gonna do it.
No.
So that's the mindset to have. So I think some people go into the bank and they're asking for a loan and they get declined and they're just like, I don't understand, I've been here, right? Just because you've had the account for a long time doesn't necessarily mean you've been managing the account or building that account history well enough for the bank to know who you are. Are you responsible? Are you gonna manage your credit account well? Are you gonna pay us back? Because, you know, they wanna get paid back. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a great analogy, is that you're not gonna lend money to somebody you don't know.
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, bank history plays a big part in it, more than you think. So that's why it's one of those things, like it seems like it's not a big deal, but it becomes a big deal when you're trying to ask for money from the bank. On top of building your account history and managing your accounts properly, the biggest thing next is credit. So establishing credit is the first start, right? And then if you need to repair credit, managing your credit, maintaining a good credit. What would you say is the best way for someone to establish credit if they don't have credit history already?
Well, I would take my advice from the first segment we just did, because that does help you as well. So average balances, having savings account, income, does all those big factors on credit applications. Your employment too, how soon you started your work in your job. If you just started, what was your previous job? How much that was earning you? So those are a lot of questions you might get asked when you're applying for your first credit card. And also looking for credit cards that best fit your need, right? If you're someone that, and the reason I say credit cards, because that's probably the first thing where you're gonna start your credit card.
Right, it's kind of one of the first easier
things you start your credit, right? A lot of those credit cards out there where you get your 5% cash back, 3 times points, they're really good, but they have a higher threshold of credit experience. So that might not be your best credit card. Do some little bit of research, talk to your banker, or talk to someone at the bank about what credit card options you might have.
Right.
And for all those parents out there that have great credit scores, and have credit cards, add your kids on there. There's no really age limit to add your kids on there. That credit history, it helps them. So if you add them at 13 years old, by the time they're 18, they have 5 or 6 years of credit history already established.
And they want to buy that first car, now they can.
There you go.
Then 5 years later, they want to buy their first house. Now they can.
Exactly. So those are all different types of ways. And just to clarify, when you're adding someone as an authorized user to the credit card, doesn't necessarily mean that they own the credit card, right? They get another credit card with the same number with their name. You don't have to give it to them, honestly, because as long as you're making the payment and you're making the payments on time, it helps them. So you don't have to give it to them.
That. So yeah. Awesome. So those are some simple ways to establishing new credit. So if you don't already have that credit history, look into the different type of credit cards. I know retail credit cards sometimes are easier to get into also. Don't get every retail card that's out there, but think of that one store, maybe 2 at max, stores that you go into frequently and you're paying from your debit card. Get that credit card from there and use it wisely, but you can use that often or as often as you feel like you need it. Instead of paying with your debit card, you pay with that card, the credit card, and then you pay from your checking account into that retail card to make that first payment. And that's another way to build up credit history. And then once you have that established, maybe a few months, go into looking at the different bank credit cards that they have out there and figure out which one's best for you. So now that we've talked about establishing credit, what about the people that already have credit history and maybe it went south a little bit and they need some help repairing that credit, getting it back to a good standing for them to then apply for a mortgage loan?
Yeah, definitely great question. For the ones that maybe mismanaged credit or, things happen. COVID happened, they lost their job and they had to rely on credit cards. Things happen, life happens, but we're here to give you some advice how to overcome that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one way to repair your credit is looking at why is your credit score going down, right? A lot of banks, Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, they offer free FICO scores with their apps. Also, a lot of people don't know this, because a lot of my clients don't know this, is that the banks give you a credit report. So you can check on there and see what necessarily is affecting you negatively and what's helping you positively.
And that's built into your app, right?
Yes, it's built into your bank app, correct. So look at there and see what's affecting you, because anything as small as $50 to $100 can be affecting you negatively as a collections, right? And if you're comfortable, call the collection agency yourself and work out a deal, pay it off, have it removed from your credit report. This can boost your credit up so much, you'll be shocked. The other thing I would say as well, and this is I'm not sponsored by them and I'm not sponsoring this video, is Experian Boost. It's a really cool way, it's free. We'll put a link in the description for you guys that want to take advantage of this. Experian, which is one of the 3 credit bureaus that we have, has something called Experian Boost. So what that is you basically sign up for a free account, you link your bank accounts, and all your utility bills like your electricity, your phone, even streaming services that you pay with your account directly, all reports to the bureaus, and that helps boost up your credit score, hence boost. Right, it boosts it up for you. Even for the renters that eventually going to call her to buy in the future, that would also help boost, even rent payments will help you boost your credit history. So those are some that an idea or a recommendation of mine to do. Along also, and I mentioned it with how to establish credit, getting added as an authorized user, that's also going to help you very quickly.
Yeah, knowing someone that is responsible and has great credit history, seeing if that person will add you, it's a trusted person, see if that person will add you as an authorized user on one of their cards, and that way it can help report some good credit history and good credit movement into your report. So that's a big one. Another one, and I know some people are skeptical of it, but looking for a debt relief program, get with your realtor or myself. I can get you a list of some recommended debt relief programs, because I know there's some, if you try to just go Google it online, you're gonna get all kinds of different companies. Doesn't mean that they're the best company or that they're really gonna help you. But get with your realtor or myself, and I'm happy to give you a list of some preferred debt relief programs that I know will work and I know that are there to help you get back on track. So look into it. Don't be too skeptical. They do wonders if you if you're with the right company. So we talked about establishing credit. We talked about repairing credit. What about maintaining credit? So say you finally got, to a good standing and you're like, I'm in the 7s or pushing closer to 8. That sometimes can psychologically trick people into thinking like, oh, everything's good now. So let me, I'm free, right? I can do what I want. What is a way for people to not do that and make sure that they're maintaining good credit history?
So it's very simple. Make payments on time. So just make payments on time. That's about 35% of your credit score, honestly. It's making payments on time. If you're forgetful, like some people I know, set up automatic payments. Do your minimum payment, then so you won't forget, right? At least your minimum payments go in there, and at least your positive payment history is still recording on your credit report. The other thing would be to don't overspend your credit cards, right? Stay about 30-40% of your credit limit, because that could potentially put you in a hole if you overspend, which increases your minimum payments, which might make it harder, especially now with a lot of entry rates going up. It could put you in a bind you don't want to be in. The next and last one I would say is diversifying your credit portfolio, which means having different types of credit, right? Vanessa mentioned one around charge cards. So having a stored credit card is what a charge card is. A bank credit card, having lines or loans or installment or term loans, like an auto loan, that's like one of them. So this makes you more attractive to mortgage companies because they can see that you have different types of credit on your report, that you're maintaining, you're keeping responsible paying back. So that is my recommendation to maintaining a good credit history.
Okay, nice. All really great points. So I know we talked a lot about making sure that you have your bank history in well standing, your bank accounts, your credit, repairing and establishing, maintaining, all of that great stuff. Be sure that you click the link below in the description for the Experian boost, so that way you get that information. I think that's a great tip. Please reach out if you have any questions. If you really like this video and you don't want to miss out on future videos just like this one and more information that I'll be providing for you, make sure you click the subscribe button above on my channel, and you can even click the little alert bell as well, so that way you're notified anytime that I post a new video. So I would like to thank you for coming onto my channel and being my first guest.
No problem.
Hopefully you guys found this helpful. I'm gonna end this video just like I normally do. My name is Vanessa, your realtor, the realist on the real. See you later.